Well, it finally happened. That's right, you guys. Danger Thunder has finally won a YCS, and I'm as happy as could be. What's going on, you guys? Slim here to give you guys the reason why I feel Danger Thunder won YCS Knoxville. You guys are very familiar with this series. Might be a little different these days, but yeah, it's been a while. We haven't had a YCS in a while, and man, to come out of the new ban list and to have Thunder win is just amazing. It's crazy, and Jesse did his thing, you guys. He really did his thing. Definitely one of the most deserving champions. He's been on an absolute roll. He has not stopped. I think every weekend or every event he's there. Like, it's insane, and he always performs. He's gone to some of the YCSs, out of the country. Like, it's just nuts. He has really, really performed well. In my honest opinion, probably been the most consistent and probably one of the best players of this whole season. So, huge shout out to him. I'm really glad he won. Very well deserved. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the main reasons why this deck won the YCS. And one thing I will tell you, Jesse did not release his list. This should really come as no surprise. Nationals, as you guys already know, is going to be in a couple weeks. I'm sure that he just didn't want to release anything different in his list, his side deck, etc. Choices that maybe other players didn't make. So unfortunately, there is no deck list for that. I don't know if one will be released now, before Nationals, probably during Nationals, after Nationals. We don't honestly know. May just not get an actual physical list. But what I do have for you guys is Faisal Khan's top 8 list to use as a reference point. I think he built a really, really strong deck, and while I know there were some differences between his deck and Jesse's deck, I think there's a lot we can take away from his deck, as well as one of the highest finishing Thunder Dragons. For those that are wondering, Thunder Dragons, like, there were I believe there were 2 in top 4, and then the finals, you guys already know, Jesse played my boy the Couch. You already know, don't be sleeping on the couch. He was playing Orcus, and that was another highly represented deck, so it was definitely a hell of a finals, and yeah, Jesse pulled it out in the end. But overall, we're going to just go over what I feel. I kind of actually jotted down the reasons why I felt that this deck did so well, and we will get into them. But yeah, so we're going to use Faisal's list, and I will be bringing up things in his list that, of course, I'm pretty sure are different than Jesse's, but there are certain things that those of you that are going to play Danger Thunder going forward, things that you should probably know. And of course, we're going to talk about the prize card, so we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. So yeah, so first reason I feel that Thunder Dragons won YCS Knoxville is because it is the player. 100%, I feel it is the player. Jesse, like I've already said, one of the most consistent, one of the most successful players. He is known for having innovated the Thunder Dragon deck. For those of you that don't know, ever since he played it at Sydney, he played like some crazy list. I think that was like 51 cards or something like that. He played cards like Dot Scraper, Glow Up Bulb, I think Mathematician, all these cards that you hadn't seen before in a Danger Thunder deck. And, that's, of course, when we had Snow, and, he had all these, crazy ideas with the deck. And if you guys have noticed, he's played it like going forward and has, just performed with it, getting second at Sydney, unfortunately getting second in the 3v3 YCS, and finally pulling it out this time and doing it with a deck that he's known for playing and known for innovating is just amazing. I don't know what else to really say. He's been, without a doubt, one of the best players of the year, if not the best player of the year. Another reason I feel it won the YCS was the deck's representation. The deck was actually quite heavily represented this weekend, and I think it took a lot of people by surprise. So many people were set on Sky Strikers, Salomon Great being the most represented decks, and while they were some of the most represented decks, Orcus and Thunder were definitely the most represented decks. I believe Orcus was the most represented. I believe, I'd have to look at the chart, but you guys have seen the chart all over YouTube. I believe it was like 31% or something like that was Orcus, and 20-something% was Danger Thunder, so they were right behind Orcus as the most represented deck. And I think that was a huge factor, is that a lot of people put more faith back into this deck to play it. It's always been the meme dream deck of only being able to get second. It's happened so many times, and, it just hasn't been able to beat Strikers in the final or beat whatever in the final, but, this time it happened. So I'm glad a lot of people put more faith back into this deck. You guys already know how much I love this deck, so I was really happy to see it win. And I think just overall, the representation of the deck was a factor as to why, it did so well, not only in the top cut, but then, of course, you get to the top 4, it's 50% Thunder Dragons, and then you get to the finals, and it's actually crazy. They were on opposite brackets, and it was actually one hell of a finals with Danger Thunder going against Orcus, and I think that was just crazy. So really happy with that, but I definitely think, like I said, the representation was a major factor. I'd say another reason it won is this deck has the ability to play through a board and hand traps like it's nobody's business. This deck is Danger Thunder, you guys. You already know how well this deck can play through hand traps. Now, you can think of, Ashing here, Veiloring here. You can have all the hand traps in the world, and sometimes it's just not enough to play through this deck. This deck just keeps pushing. It has so many extenders. It has so many ways to just keep going. The combo is actually insane. Like, you can do the full combo, which is 2 monsters and a baby dragon, and I mean, it's nuts. Beat Copper Leech added a whole new level to the deck. If you guys know that combo, you guys should know that combo by now. The ability to use all 3 guard dragons, I think, is actually really insane too. And I think that was another major factor, was the inclusion of Pitsy really did add a lot to the deck. Now, we'll finally talk about the prize card. So Faisal did play the prize card. If you guys saw the deck profile on my brother Johnny's channel, you guys already know he did play the prize card. And I know there were some lists that actually did not play the prize card and also topped. And I do not actually know if Jesse played the prize card. I don't remember reading about it in a feature match unless I just missed it. But you could revisit the feature matches. But I'm pretty sure he did play it because there was a deck profile of the last regional that he actually got first place with, and he was playing the prize card. I've talked to Manav, I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure that they all played the prize card. I'm pretty sure he played the prize card as well, so I'm not actually surprised if that card is in his deck. Now, I know a lot of people are on the fence about this card. Of course, this is a prize card. It's a very expensive prize card, and a lot of people are wondering, do I really need this card for my deck? I have heard it on both ends, you guys. I have heard absolutely yes, you can't play the deck without it. To know this card is not necessary. People are telling you it's necessary or crazy, blah, blah, blah. To each his own. I feel like this card does, raise the ceiling of this deck, so that is a huge factor. I feel if you do have access to it and you do know how to do the combo and everything, then play it. If you don't have access to it, then there are other ways to still play this deck without it. I've asked multiple players and they've told me that it's amazing, but it's not 100% necessary if you don't have access to it. So just remember that if you don't have the prize card, it doesn't mean that you can't do well with the deck, but if you do have it, I mean, makes the deck even much better, and that's just like the honest opinion. So yeah, but back on what I was saying, yeah, this deck can just play through a board. It can break a whole board. It can play through a bunch of hand traps, and I feel that when a deck can do that, it's just really, really successful. It's pretty much the same thing of being able to build a deck that can go first or second, and that's what Thunder can do. Thunder can play going first and build a crazy board. Thunder can go second and break a whole board, and I mean, that's what a deck needs. A deck needs the flexibility of going first or second, and I think that was another huge factor, is that is what the deck is designed to do, and it does it very well. Other things I would say is that I would assume Jesse's side deck was built quite well for the meta. Again, we don't know the side deck, and I know people have been trying to theorize what it is. I've heard that he did play 3 gnome material, stuff like that. He played Gamma and Driver, I believe. He played Lancia, of course. All these cards that are built to combat the meta of Orcus, Sky Strikers, Solomon Great, Thunder Dragons, etc. All just stuff you guys should be familiar with. And if you guys look at Faisal's side deck, pretty similar. Like, he is playing Lancia. This is the God card against Orcus. It's just so insane. It just ends their turn. Denko and Twin and even Spell Canceller are just amazing cards against the Mind deck, because you got to still account for that deck. It is very, very scary. Orcus decks are even starting to play copies of Mind, and it's just really, really, it's really hard to get through that card with this deck, unfortunately, because you guys can see there are no real outs in the main deck to it, so you have to take that into account. And I feel like that was just another huge factor, is that when you're a high skill player, you do prepare pretty much for the whole meta. You make a meta call, and you just know that going to this event, there could be a lot of combo decks. There could be a lot of stunny decks. This was definitely the event of the combo decks. There were a ton of combo decks everywhere. So I feel that the side deck being built and prepared for the meta was a huge factor as to why this deck finally won. And one last thing I'll say about it is that at the end of the day, you guys, this is still Danger Thunder Dragons. This is still I'm going to put up an insane board, draw a bunch of cards with Saryuja. I'm going to put up multiple Colossus that don't let you pretty much get through your deck. I'm going to put up cards like, Faisal played Crystal Wing, another thing on that. So I thought this was really cool too. This card is way better against combo decks than Hot Red is. Now, Hot Red is definitely the safer card. Those of you already know, Hot Red is just really good, if you against evenly matched Widow Anchor, etc., etc. But, Crystal Wing is not without its charm. Definitely amazing against combo decks. But you put up monsters that basically just tell your opponent no. Certain cards like, number 38. If you play number 68, 68 is just like game against Solomon Great. Like I've already mentioned, the beat cap combo. I think the Heretic Link, of course, you guys know since it came out, has just, set the deck, on a whole nother level. Non-targeting removal. Summons a dragon from the deck. You can protect it with Hope Harbinger. Like, it's just insane how well the synergy is between those two cards. And of course, I mean, freaking Yugioh. I mean, they haven't touched this card at all, so we're just gonna draw, a bunch of cards, fix our hand, make our board better. So why not? So definitely, at the end of the day, this is still Danger Thunder. This is still the deck that does insane things, and it still puts up ridiculous boards. And one thing I'll talk about real quick is just that, Faisal did play 3 copies of Phantasma in his main deck. He expected a lot of combo decks. He was correct, and this card is great against them. He also, I believe in his profile, said he played against 4 Sky Strikers in Swiss, and this card is amazing against them too. So I think the fact that, he main decked these, I don't know if Jesse main decked any, maybe 1, maybe 2, not sure. Like I said, we're probably not going to get a list anytime soon, but it definitely is a card, to consider. Again, this card just really good, has really good synergy with Brotor, which, of course, another card that set the deck on another level, being able to search Phantasma if need be, being able to search Levianeer, search Diabolo, so ridiculous. So I think all these factors are the reasons why the deck was so successful, and I just think, this is definitely going to be something that you need to pay attention to going forward. We have a couple of weeks till Nationals, so we're definitely going to see if there's any more. I'm not sure if there's how many more regionals there are, but we're definitely going to have to look to that as more data for, what to expect at Nationals. But I think that this YCS did dictate a good amount of things we can take away. The 4 most represented decks, of course, being Orcus, some version of Orcus. Orcus is just Orcus. Like, there's just the Orcus engine and a bunch of just like crazy way to get 2 monsters, to get to your Nightmare, to get to combo. The Danger Thunder deck, Salomon Great, Sky Striker, that's the meta, and it'll continue to be the meta. Our Nationals might be a little different. There might be more Rogue, but it definitely was not represented this past weekend. But overall, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below as to why you feel Danger Thunder finally won the YCS. Don't say it was a prize card. I mean, maybe it was a prize card. Who really knows? But overall, I think it's amazing that the deck finally won, and it was piloted by the best. So I couldn't have asked for a better way for the YCS to turn out. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.